Season 54, War number 5. Today we've matched up against 4 Loki, and the bands are Hulk, Photon, Titania, Void, and Null. And my team today is Silk, America Chavez, and Omega Sentinel. And this is a very special war for me because this is my first ever 10-fight war. I've been playing in Tier 1 War for 9-10 seasons now. Never had the opportunity to have a 10-fight war, and this is the one. This is the chance to get it. So we're gonna start today on Path 9, Section 1 versus this thing on Hazard Shift, Incinerate, Poison. And of course, due to Silk being Decay tagged, she can take Hazard Shift and not have to worry about it, just because she has a bunch of debuffs to be able to reduce the damaging effect potency of damaging effects. That was a redundant sentence, but this thing is super simple. We get slow from both Silk's kit and Decay to where just the rock stacks don't matter at all. And then I just drop SP2s, which I believe trigger protection from his Sig ability, so that sucks, but it's a 7-star thing, so likely he's not going to be Sig 200, and turns out this one wasn't. So, still do some damage, even in the protection at least. And yeah, it's just a slow, chip him down kind of fight. His special attacks cost half the power, so that kind of helps me. It would help me if I wasn't using a character with such easy access to slow, so it is kind of harmful since Silk doesn't really care about the unstoppable anyway, but if I was using a character who didn't have slow, then the power reserve is just helpful for me. But anyway, this thing finally dies with the relic right there, and that is my first fight down. Move on to the next one against Weapon X here on Node 18, taking this fight with Omega Sentinel. So relatively new rank 3 Omega Sentinel. She is my newest rank 3. I've never used her for this fight before, but I figured it would go pretty well. I just need to wait out the initial Incinerate phase. I can build up a few of my personal armor ups by hitting his block like this, just to get some armor rating for if I get hit when he's closer to unblockable. And now that he's in the poison phase, I'm just gonna start doing some double mediums, save some of my heal blocks right there with a pause on my 4th light attack, and now I was late on dexing his hit, and then he crit me, so that hurts. And now we're in the Incinerate phase, and I just kind of went for it. Like, I'm getting a bunch of Incinerates on me. Again, I just kind of went for the kill at this point. Omega Sentinel has some energy resist per non-damaging debuff on the opponent, but my Omega Sentinel is only Sig 69, which is nice, but it doesn't mean I have the highest energy resistance. So I do take about half my health there, but we still kill him fast because I think she has like the highest base attack rating in the game, or at least when she came out she did. Maybe someone surpassed her now, but either way, that fight goes down with, relative ease. We just kind of lost a bit of health. So, alright, next up we're fighting Jack-o'-lantern on node 26. This is just a path-splitting placement because Jack is not a defender to begin with, but also doesn't really benefit from the nodes. The only buff he gains is his Bulwark buff, which happens during my special attacks, and I don't plan on dropping any special attacks into his block, so the block proficiency bonus does not matter in the slightest. We're just going to go for an SP2. I don't even think I used the relic, and it doesn't kill him, but it comes pretty close to doing so. And yeah, we do some nice damage on this SP2. He's at 18%, so I'm going to just throw a combo into the relic and then kill him with an SP1 if my next combo doesn't do it beforehand, and it does. So 3 fights down, we move on to America Chavez versus Gorr on node 35. Classic placement here, but Chavez is always going to be there to kill him in like 20 seconds. It's really just there to force a Chavez to join the map, which, it's whatever, because she's a good champ in general, and she's going to have a mini that I'm taking with her later. So it doesn't, it's just a placement. That's all I can say about it. We're going to kill him, like, in just a minute with The SP2 gonna finish his entire health off after we throw it after the Utopian Parallel Dimension, which is a little bit extra damage from that. And then he dies with some really nice crits on the SP2, by the way. That was like a 92k crit, 48k before that. We had the red numbers to go with it and all that fun stuff. So, I love Chavez SP2. I'm sure most people love that. So next up we're fighting Node 39 Mysterio, which is just the easiest Silk assignment ever. You get to an SP3, you kill him. When he triggers his damage reflect thing off the SP1, it doesn't matter because Decay counters damage reflect effects that include Mysterio's and Enchantresses and even some other things like Korg and Atuma Thorns. In case you didn't know, Decay is busted. So I just go for the SP3 here. Decay does not stop Power Sting damage, however, but the Power Sting does like nothing, so you'll see it takes away like 6% of my health or something. Oh, actually 9, so a bit more, but still, we just do the normal Silk rotation, and then we don't even need a special attack to finish him off. So yeah, just like that, we move on to another Silk fight versus this Node 40 Ham. This is a really easy Silk fight, which is going to sound pretty redundant, but it is. So what else am I supposed to say? You know, we just spam SP1s in this fight to where he's not gaining any of his spider nonsense. We have the slow from Decay and Silk's kit in case he does gain nonsense and his evades would start to happen. But he's also not going to have any damage resistance if he can't build up nonsense. So because Silk just hits hard and Spider-Ham doesn't have a health pool, we kill him really fast. The taunt does reduce some of my damage for sure, but it doesn't really add up to anything. Heavy into the special one here, which again does do reduce damage because of the taunts, but he's at 30% now and we're only just over 30 seconds in the fight. Relic right there. I'm gonna go into one more SP1 and that's gonna do the trick, so less than 45 seconds in that fight. Really nice. And then we move on to another Silk Mini versus this Werewolf by Night on Node 43. It used to be a placement when Silk was like blacklisted every single war, but now that she's not, there's like no way you can die to this fight. Basically, you have Decay to cover the debuffs, and well, I guess you wouldn't be using Silk for this fight in a meta that isn't Decay, so that would ignore that part. We'd send like onslaughts to this in other seasons, but yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense in this season. We have an equity from the shocks reducing some of our damage a little bit, but it doesn't matter too much. I didn't even bother to go for an SP3, even though, in hindsight, maybe I should have gone for an SP3. But we're going to combo into the Relic right here, and then an SP1 is going to finish him off if a combo doesn't before that. Okay, so it almost did, but we throw the SP1 anyway. And then he dies, less than a minute. We move on to Adam Warlock on Node 46. Taking this fight with Chavez, of course. And Chavez just kind of destroys Adam on this node and the other like power gain focus node that Adam's sometimes on, which is 47. Not a huge deal for her. She's going to need a bit more negative zones to control Adam's power than normal. But regardless, it's not that difficult. We're going to get the other dimensions going in just a moment. It helps if I know how to dex the SP1, but I messed it up somehow. It's annoying when he starts building up crit resist throughout the fights, but we still get some nice crits off earlier in the fight, so there's that. His sovereignty buff does not reduce the ability accuracy of my stun passives. Only the stuns from parry it messes up with, so not too big a deal there. Got a crit on the SP2, which is pretty great. And then here, I'm just going to chill for a bit while his pod's back. And then I believe something weird happens closer to the end of the fights. I don't know why I didn't just go for an SP2 off of the Utopian Parallel. Okay, so nothing weird actually happened. I was lying, and we finished the fight at full health. Alright, moving on, we have Mr. Sinister on node 48. Another Omega Sentinel fight. OS is just like the perfect option for this. You could also send Nimrod, I guess, but I have a rank 3 OS, and Nimrod is not a 7-star at all, so I think OS is better here. But we run an invul boost because I'm going to end up pushing him to SP3 intentionally in this fight, and then you just get to OS as SP3, drop it. It's going to place 6 plasmas, and then they're going to tick relatively hard, so I throw some debuffs into Conflictor. I really don't care, because in this fight it does not matter what special Sinister throws, because the repercussions of whatever special he throws are irrelevant when you're playing a Omega Sentinel, but usually just a robot champion, because robots do not get the degen from Sinister's SP1. Some robots are still going to get the concussion from his SP2, but Omega Sentinel, because she is immune to ability accuracy modification from mutants, does not get that concussion, so we can just bait whatever specials we want, including his SP3, as you're going to see next, because we're running an invul boost. So I knew that was going to happen. That was my game plan, to push him to SP3 at one point in the fight. And then he's going to power leech some of my power, which is a debuff I think only he has, maybe one other person. But here I'm doing something stupid. I forgot that, yeah, I'm not going to get degened from the plasmas being converted, but he is still going to remove them, so I kind of wasted a bunch of damage there. I just forgot about that in the moment, so it just made the fight a little bit longer. Not a big deal, but it was a little bit of a mistake. So last fight of the war, of course, an Enchantress boss with Silk. Last time I took an Enchantress boss, it was with Count Nefaria. That Discord notification is me, not you. Why the heck do I always forget to turn off my Discord when I'm recording videos? I don't know. But either way, I felt confident enough to do this with Silk. I've taken so many Enchantress bosses in the most recent seasons, usually with Mr. Negative, but then again I did it with Nefaria earlier this season, and now I'm doing it with Silk. The thing I always say for an Enchantress boss is the way this fight goes south is if you do not take control of the fight. So her AI is going to be bad sometimes, but you as the player need to control it as well as you can, and that is how an Enchantress fight does not go wrong. If you let your guard down and start letting her take control of what happens in the fights, then it's going to go south for you. So we're going to bait heavy attacks here, counter them after the last hit, hope it doesn't miss, but we're still staying in control, trying to bait her heavy attack. She throws it. Now I'm going to go for an intercept. She doesn't want to do it. Mess up my own intercept there. That's okay. I'm still not panicking. Panicking is another reason that Enchantress bosses can go really badly. And then I drop my SP2 here. Does decent damage. We threw it when she still had some spells up, so they were capping a 40% of the damage, but that's okay. And then I could either push her to Special 2 and dex it, or evade it really, or I could push her to SP3 because I still have a hit on my invul left. I opted to just use my evade there on the SP2. And then I drop my own SP2, it does some nice damage, she's down to 35%, and now she's closer to her wall, so I just have so much control in this fight still. There, I let my guard down for like a fraction of a second, and because she's coded to throw her SP1 more often, she intended to do so. So that's an example of me not controlling the fight to perfection, I should say, because even if you let your guard down for like half or just a fraction of a second, she is going to take that opportunity to throw a special one. It's just something you have to know, and something you have to just not do. So anyway, I'm in my corner again, but I'm trying to fish an intercept. Got a really nice one right there, and we're going to drop the SP2. Again, she has her purple spells up, so damage is going to be capped by 60%, but that's okay. I believe I still have a hit on my invul left, so I can push her to an SP3. But I'm just going to use my evade once again to evade the SP2 instead. Here I do make a mistake. I didn't recognize that the unfazed mastery was triggering there. fast enough to where I did eat a little bit of a combo right after that, but it's okay. She does not hit very hard, so we barely took any damage, and she's left at 1% now, so I'm just gonna drop this SP1 right into her heavy attack, because I knew some of those hits weren't gonna miss, right? And if she's stuck in her heavy animation, then that's just the safest way to get her down. We did lose the war quite badly, and before any of you try to diss our alliance, I'm going to take a very big portion of responsibility for our downfall there, because I made some serious planning errors in my battle group to cause a lot of those 14 deaths. Our other battle groups played much better than my own battle group, and it was largely because of my planning failures, so I just did not make a good plan. That's all I can say. A lot of our deaths were totally on me and not on the players, so I'm just gonna have to improve, because that was embarrassing on my part, and I am embarrassed to my own alliance off of the work that I put out for them. So I don't plan the Sunday wars, so since the Sunday war is the next one, I get a small break from planning, but when I come back for the Wednesday war, I'm gonna have to put out a much better plan, because this one was not it. I'm taking most of the responsibility for our loss here. Even though we weren't gonna put up 1 death or less anyway because of other battle groups, still it should have been much closer. So anyway, I got my first 10-fight war. Really, really great for me, just not great for my battle group, because I put them into precarious situations, unfortunately. Very happy with how my war went, at least. And I'm glad that I finally got that 10-fight war that I've been looking for, a considerably long time. So if you guys enjoyed watching this video, I do appreciate it if you hit the like and the sub button and stuff, and I will see you in the next one.